Hi, I'm Ryan from Educate.me, and today we're going to look at how you are tracked online. What's the big deal about being tracked online? You feel like you're boring enough that no one cares. Well, there is kind of a big deal about you being tracked online. These companies can find out all this information about you, things that you might not want them to know. And more importantly, your students coming up need to know about how they can be tracked online and how they can stay safe. So if you can model for them what you do to stay safe, they can hopefully stay safe as they grow up. As we look at different ways that you are being tracked online, what can they do with this information? Well, my favorite story is about Target. A few years ago, manager of a Target store got this irate phone call from a father complaining about his daughter receiving all of this pregnancy information from Target. Things like wipes and cribs are on sale and all this. And he was very irate with Target. And it turns out that Target knew the guy's daughter was pregnant before the guy did. You might think, how did Target know that? Target can track what you're buying, and they know that pregnant women buy certain things like unscented wipes or unscented lotions, and they can target their advertisements based on what you've been buying. With some of these companies, the targeting has gotten so good that you'll receive the flyer in the mail and every single item on there is something that you're very interested in, and that started to freak people out. So nowadays they randomly throw things on there, say a lawnmower, just to throw you off that, yeah, we're targeting you. And most of the stuff on there is things that you're probably interested in buying. As we go through everything, that's how they track you. Even if you abstain from the internet, these companies are still building profiles about you, because if you have any friends that have mentioned you or have taken a picture and posted you online, they say, hey, there's this person. Who is this person? And they start building a profile of this person. So even if you're not online, they're still tracking you, which is kind of scary. My dad's not online. He's not in social media, but he has 6 kids and we all are online. So there's a profile out there about him, what he likes, what he dislikes, places he habits, because people talk. They can build this whole profile about what they do online. So how do they track you online? First up is your internet provider. Anything you do between your computer and the place you're connecting to, let's say Facebook, every place along the way knows that you are connecting to Facebook. You might say, hey, I have the padlock. It's supposed to be secure. Yes, they can't see what you're saying to Facebook, but they can see that you are talking to Facebook or eBay or Amazon. So they can start to build up, okay, this person, he shops at Amazon more than he does at Walmart because he connects to Amazon. They don't know what you're looking at Amazon. Amazon for sure knows what you're looking at, but your internet provider, whether it's for your home or when you're on your phone, they can see everything every place that you connect to. Even if they can't see what you're doing, they can see that you connect and use these services. The big way they track you is cookies. We're going to start up a browser here, and we're just going to go to google.com. Now let's see what cookies. There are 17 cookies in use with Google. And a cookie is just a little piece of information, and we don't know what this stuff is. There's the content of that cookie, API SID. We don't know what that is, but Google sure does, because it's storing that little piece of information on your machine. That's all a cookie is. It's a little piece of information on your machine. Now, see where it says domain? Only Google can see this cookie. If I go off to Facebook, Facebook can't see any cookies but cookies that Facebook placed. And that's what this domain is saying. If I go down here to www.google.com and look at the cookies, only www, only that machine server can access that OTZ cookie. It can't, no one else can see that cookie. So you're kind of safe there, but Google can always read that. So Facebook cookies can only be read on Facebook's site. If I go to Facebook, immediately Facebook places a cookie on my machine. And in fact, they place 8 cookies on my machine. So they want to see what I'm doing. Now, only Facebook can see this. So you're saying, okay, that's not a big deal. I'm going to go to, and there's a reason why I'm picking 538.com. Okay, I'm on 538.com and we can go look at the cookies. 200, holy cow, 222 cookies on my site from 538. Oh my goodness. So these are all the ad sites that are being placed on my machine. 538. Whoa. We'll just pick an article here. Now down at the bottom of each article, see there's a share on Facebook. If we go to the comments, as soon as I find the comments, these comments are coming from Facebook. So you know how only Facebook can read Facebook's cookies? Facebook now knows that I have been on 538 because Facebook knows, because we embedded 538 embedded their comments from Facebook. Facebook runs our comments, so Facebook knows what sites, what articles I read on 538, and 538 is a political blog. So they can start building up what my political leanings are based on my articles, and if I start commenting, they can start building up those comments, even if I'm not signed in to Facebook. So that's how the cookies work, and that's how any site that you go to that has a Facebook like button, Facebook knows you visited that site. Even if you don't interact with the page, Facebook knows who you are because Facebook planted a cookie on your machine, and any of those sites that has the like button can read that cookie, and Facebook knows, hey, he visited this, this, and this. So that's what the cookies are. And I had no, whoa, 336. Holy cow. I had no idea 538 put that many cookies on your machine. That just scares me. And there's the Facebook cookies that's on this machine. So Facebook knows that I visited this site now. Cookies are important because if I see, I'm back here, I'm signed into Google so I can see my mailbox. If I remove all my cookies, it logs me out. So sites need, so you can't just say, okay, don't save any cookies, because if you say don't save any cookies, you cannot sign into any site because the site needs to store a cookie on who you are so you can use that site. So you need to do other things to protect yourself. And now I'm back in there, and now there we are. I'm back in. And now those cookies, if I go up here to cookies, 38, man, it's getting bad, bad, bad. Next place, so past the cookies, how they track you is your Google searches. Google stores that information because Google uses that not only to build a profile on who you are and what you like, but it also uses it to make the system better. So it's a toss-up. They kind of need that information to make the service better, but then that information can also be used for evil. And finally, we have browser fingerprinting. Okay, so we start blocking cookies from Facebook and they can't track us anymore. Well, browser fingerprinting looks at your browser, your settings of your browsers, and tries to figure out what's unique about the browser you are using, so then it can track who I am through various sites without even storing a cookie. So coveryourtracks.eff.org, we're going to test our browser. You're not protected against tracking. Now this is just regular old Chrome and I have no plugins to help protect me. I'm not blocking ads, I'm not blocking invisible tractors. I grew up on a farm, but I don't own a tractor anymore. Protecting you from fingerprinting. Your browser has a unique fingerprint. So they can, out of the 264,000 browsers they've tested in the past 45 days, mine is unique. So people can use that browser fingerprinting, and you can scroll down through here, and it uses all of this information, user agent, plugins that I have installed, my time zone. screen resolution, what fonts I have installed. And that's how it can kind of figure out, okay, we can use this to identify me. Even if I'm blocking everything else that I can, they can still track this browser. Well, what can we do to fix it? First off is Privacy Badger. And there's a couple more of these plugins. It's an add-on, so we're just going to install it. Now with Privacy Badger installed, remember it pops up and then it disappears, so we got to go pin it so we can see it. We're on the Chrome extension page. So now let's go back. We're going to go back to 538 because they win today. Privacy Badger has blocked 22 items. Now, it will give you a yellow for things that it thinks you might need, so it doesn't really block those, but things that it definitely knows need to be blocked, it'll block. See all the red things? You'll see Facebook, it doesn't know whether to block it. And I can say, yes, block Facebook. I can say block Google. Gstatic is used by Google too. So I can go through here and say, I want to block these. Geez, Twitter uses things, but it might break the site. So if you do turn something on, be sure to remember, hey, I might need to turn that off. Now let's go back and look at our article. Remember, we had 332 cookies set. With Privacy Badger, only 42 cookies now get set. So I've just eliminated 300 cookies from just this one site. And up here, it has 18 different sites that are being blocked. So that's one way of doing it. Privacy Badger works really well on fixing a few of those things, but you have to be aware that if you go to a site and something doesn't quite work right, first thing you should do is disable Privacy Badger to make sure that's not the reason why it's not working. Your next piece that you can add is a ad blocker. And I'm going to turn uBlock. I already had uBlock Origin installed. I'm going to turn it back on and pin it so I can see it. Now if I go to a site, uBlock Origin has blocked 22 items on this page. So that's going to block my ads and it's going to block other trackers. It's really nice. I don't know how. Go watch my other video on blocking ads with uBlock Origin to get the full skinny on that. But I don't know how people survive the internet without an ad blocker, because some sites have gotten so obnoxious, it's just amazing. But those two will cut down on a lot of the tracking for you. Our next step would be switching browsers. Now Chrome is by Google, and Google makes their living off of tracking you and gathering information. So you're not going to ever be totally safe in Google Chrome. But there are other options. Brave is a big one. And here I've got Brave up. Brave is based on Chrome. All your add-ons still work, but it's done by a separate company. And their main goal is to help keep you private online. And if you look, there's a little lion for their symbol. It's already blocking 3 cross-site trackers on the Cover Your Tracks website. So that's pretty bad that this already has it on there. Well, let's test our browser, Brave browser. You have strong protection against web tracking. Blocking ads, yes. I'm blocking invisible trackers, yes. And your browser has a randomized fingerprint. So now Brave is actively changing things every time a site tries to request information, so you can't get a unique fingerprint of my browser. And it automatically blocks the ads. It's pretty nice, all built in. This is just the default. I haven't installed anything yet. So let's go to 538, which is now my favorite site to use to demonstrate tracking and cookies. And it jumped up to 24 and other creepy things. Ooh, watch out for those creepy things. And if I click on the article, block 23, and there's only 11 cookies now in use. 538 and Go.com, which is part of ABC Disney, I'm pretty sure. And even if I go down here and open up the comments, they might not open. Oh, they did open. But Facebook didn't get a chance to store any cookies, and my blocked sites went up to 30 as soon as I opened those comments. So it's protecting me as I browse with Brave. Now, you might not be able to use Brave because of your school policies, or you can't install software, so that's a bummer. But that you can still add those add-ons to Google Chrome and get that protection. If you're under Mac, Safari has a ton of safety features built in, so you don't even have to install another browser. You can use Safari. Firefox is another good one, but Firefox doesn't do the ad blocking and the browser fingerprinting as well as Brave. But Firefox is another option. I jump between all the browsers because I get bored and hey, I'm going to try something new. So I'll use Brave, I'll use Firefox, then I'll use Chrome. I haven't used Microsoft Edge that much, but I've got time. So if you use a different browser, and I can install Privacy Badger in this, and I can install uBlock Origin in Brave and get even better protections. But the more things you install, the more chance you have of visiting a site that things don't work. And with Brave, it's really easy. If you don't install anything else, I can click on the lion and I can just turn off my shields, is what they call it. And that'll turn off everything. Banking sites are horrible at, if you start to block things, banking sites just collapse like a house of cards, because banking sites are just terrible most of the time. So I can always turn this off, turn off shields up, and now it'll go for it 538 and install all that crap on my machine. 234. Look at that, since I turned off tracking. Oh, what's this guy? The site has been blocked from using motion sensors. Okay, good. I'm glad they can't use my motion sensors that are in my desktop. Okay, we're going to turn that back on because 538 just has all sorts of terrible things going on it. So our next piece is a privacy-focused search engine like DuckDuckGo. You can use that and search the internet without going through Google. It works pretty well. It might be blocked at your school because it would allow students to maybe see things that aren't filtered like Google would be filtered, but it works pretty well. There are times that I have to go and still do my search on Google because I couldn't find the information I want, but that's pretty rare. DuckDuckGo works. It works well enough to it's my default browser, it's my default search engine, and then I'll use something else if that's not quite working. Finally, a VPN. I cannot tell you which is the best VPN because I'm not qualified for the security-wise to tell you that, because they can say these VPNs don't log, they can say all sorts of things, but we don't know what they're actually doing with your data. So I went and looked, did some research, and almost no site will tell you which is the best VPN to use. But a VPN will protect you from your internet provider seeing what you're doing. When you turn on a VPN, all your internet provider will see is your traffic to your VPN provider. So all your internet provider sees is that you're talking to a VPN provider. They cannot see anything else. Your VPN provider, though, then has the same access that your internet provider has, so they can see that you're going off to eBay, to Amazon, to Walmart. The VPN can see all that, but it's all encrypted between your VPN and your desktop, so your internet provider can't see it. So that's what a VPN can protect you from, is your internet provider. It offers you some protection, but it does not make you anonymous. It it just gives you a little protection. I would recommend a VPN if you use public Wi-Fi hotspots a lot. I would recommend selecting a VPN provider and using that anytime you're on public Wi-Fi, because there are just some things that can go south pretty quickly on public Wi-Fi. That's your starter course for security online. That was a lot of information to go through. If you're still here, congrats to you. If you do like it, hit that like button. And also visit my website over at educate.me. Stay classy.